This episode covers Friday, May 31st, 2024, day 51 of my Grand Detour. Today's meanderings took me 200 miles, from Fort Bragg to Klamath, California, up the Pacific coast, through the redwood forests, and into the towering stillness of one of the most iconic landscapes in America. If you're enjoying these videos, please take a minute to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps me out, and it helps others discover the channel as well. If you'd like to share and leave a comment, that's even better. Unfortunately, the day started not with a twist of the throttle, but with a puddle under the car. Scott's freshly serviced Porsche had sprung a coolant leak. Nothing urgent at first, but by the time we drove to the coffee shop and had our breakfast, it had become a steady trail across the parking lot. We jacked up the car in a supermarket parking lot, pulled a tire, and looked for a loose clamp or something obvious. No luck. So just before noon, we said our goodbyes. Scott started the careful journey home, topping off coolant every 30 minutes, and I turned north, solo once again. The shift from riding with someone to solitude mirrored something happening on the road itself. The forest grew deeper, the cliffs steeper, and the California coast started giving way to Oregon's rugged shoreline. Highway 1 carried me through a winding, tree-covered stretch, just north of Mendocino before dropping me onto Highway 101, and this was my road for the rest of the day. As it opened up, redwoods began appearing more often. At first, just some scattered giants among the fir and pine, but soon the canopy closed in. It was like entering a cathedral made of trees. I stopped for lunch at the Chimney Tree Grill, just off 101 in Phillipsville. A great burger and a good break. I had hoped to take the legendary Avenue of the Giants, but a bridge near the entrance was under repair, so that detour would have to wait for another trip. Still, the ride north was far from disappointing. After Eureka and Arcata, the towns grew smaller and farther apart. North of Arcata, the road slips behind what locals call the Redwood Curtain, a stretch of isolated forest where cell signals fade, towns thin out, and the trees grow taller than your expectations. The Redwoods Visitor Center came into view just after 5 p.m., and I parked the bike at 5:16, closed. But that's okay. It's not much further to my hotel, and I'll come back in the morning for my National Park stamp and to take the scenic road through the heart of the forest. It was sad to see Scott go. He had been looking forward to the Redwoods as much as I had. In fact, he wanted to get up to the Oregon Caves and Crater Lake. But the car trouble cut that short, and he turned south while I kept heading north. Fortunately, it's not the last we'll see of each other. Scott's planning to meet up with me again out in Yellowstone, where we'll ride through Lamar Valley, home to some of the biggest bison herds in the country. That's the nature of a long trip. Plans change, friends fall back and rejoin later, and the road just keeps on rolling. In researching a quote for today, it's hard to beat John Muir. The clearest way into the universe is through a forest wilderness. The trees don't call out, they don't ask for your attention, they just stand and wait, solid and silent. They're ready for you whenever you're ready for them. Tomorrow, I'll return to the visitor center, I'll ride the scenic road through the Redwoods, and cross into Oregon for the first time on this trip, continuing north up to Grants Pass. Thanks for watching. Until the next ride, be safe, be curious, and keep meandering.